What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and if you're enjoying the content here on my channel, then make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe so you can help decide what direction the content on my channel goes in the foreseeable future. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and today I wanted to try something a little bit different just to switch things up and add a little variety to the channel because, as we know, variety is the pepper of life or something like that. Anyway, the inspiration for this video is really twofold. The first of which is a comic that's been published by Marvel on and off ever since the late 1970s called What If? And for those of you guys who don't know, What If was a series where the writers would try to imagine an alternate timeline of events than what had actually happened in the main Marvel universe, and basically tell out-of-continuity stories based on those hypothetical situations. For example, there was an issue that asked the question, what if Spider-Man had saved Gwen Stacy when she was dropped from a bridge by Norman Osborn? They don't really use that many words, but that's more or less the gist of the story. And there was another one that asked the question, what if Wolverine had killed the Hulk during their first battle? And basically, the writers of these issues simply told a story based on this alternate hypothetical set of facts. The other motivation behind this is the fact that you guys keep asking me to make videos like this, so I'm gonna make a video like this. I'm gonna give this a shot and we're gonna see what happens. So, because Marvel isn't really publishing What If comics really anymore, I think the last they did was Infinity, and they're certainly not doing them in all new, all different Marvel. And because of the fact that seeing a Marvel versus DC crossover, or a Marvel and DC crossover in the modern day is really something that just kind of left to the birds, I figured why not fill the void here on my channel and give this a shot. So with that in mind, we're going to get a little experimental today, and we're gonna ask the question, what if the Incredible Hulk was given a Red Lantern ring? So in order to tell the story properly, we have to know exactly what it is that we're dealing with. So in case anyone watching this is not aware of what the Red Lantern rings are or how they work, we'll start with an explanation of their history as well as the powers and abilities they bestow upon their wearers. So back when Geoff Johns was writing his character-defining run on the Green Lantern, which we cover here every Sunday, one of the biggest things he did was create an entire emotional spectrum of different lanterns, each one having a different color and each color representing a different emotion along the spectrum. Prior to this, we had only ever seen Green Lanterns in comics, but Johns expanded the idea of the Lantern Corps and made the Green Lanterns just one of many aspects of a much larger picture. While the Green Lanterns derive their ability from willpower, there are other Lantern Corps that get their powers from other emotions, including the Red Lanterns, who rely on the emotion of rage for their strength. Now that brings us to the Red Lantern Power Ring, the source of power for all Red Lanterns. The Red Rings themselves and the Red Lantern's central power battery were created by Atrocitus out of his rage and desire for revenge on the Guardians of the Universe, who he blamed for the slaughter of almost every person in his home sector. Drawing on the central power battery, the Red Lantern rings imbue those who wear them with a variety of powers and abilities, but also causes them to undergo a dramatic transformation. When the Red Lantern puts on a ring, the ring effectively replaces their heart so that they can no longer feel any emotion other than rage, and they're singularly motivated to exact revenge and wreak as much destruction as possible. The ring also transforms the blood of its wearer into basically a liquefied rage plasma that the lantern can then regurgitate, and the blood that these Red Lanterns regurgitate is both incendiary and extremely corrosive. Now, Red Lanterns are also able to fire the rage-filled plasma as an energy blast with destructive capabilities, the extent of which is directly related to the level of rage of the particular person who's spewing this and their power. Now, other abilities offered by the Red Lantern rings include the ability to create light constructs out of red light, the durability of which depends on the level of rage of the lantern creating them, as well as flight and the creation of force fields that both shield the lantern from harm as well as sustain their physical requirements as a form of life support. And so now that we've covered what a Red Lantern ring does, we next turn our attention to what the Incredible Hulk powered by a Red Lantern ring would be capable of. And to do that, we first have to run over what the Hulk can do without the ring. So, as most anyone with any degree of familiarity with the Incredible Hulk knows, the primary characteristic of the Hulk is incredible strength, which increases as he gets angrier and has no known upper limit. This strength is complemented by insane durability and a ridiculously fast regenerative healing factor. Even in his base form, the Hulk is one of the most powerful Earthbound characters in the Marvel Universe. But if we add the Red Lantern ring to the equation, he becomes a universal threat, the likes of which would draw the attention of the entire gamut of Marvel's heroes. Now, the key factor to consider is the effect that rage or anger is going to have on a Hulk possessing the Red Lantern ring. As we said earlier, the Red Lantern ring is going to force Hulk into a physical transformation where his heart and blood are replaced by pure rage to the point that anger is the only emotion he will be able to feel. He will be singularly focused on expelling that rage in the form of violence and getting revenge on all those who have wronged him him in the past. It's important to remember here that as the Hulk's rage level increases, so does his strength. So what's going to happen is essentially that the power of the ring will cause the Hulk to become angrier than ever before, which in turn will cause him to become stronger than ever before. When you add in other abilities granted by the ring, what we would be dealing with here would essentially be an invincible monster that can fly, create force fields, and shoot pure unadulterated energy out of his hands and vomit from his mouth. So just think about that for a second. The Hulk flying over a city, vomiting fire down upon the people below. That's literally the situation that we're going to be dealing with here. So now that we have an understanding of what's going on, we face the question of how this story would play out if it were to ever actually come to fruition. Specifically, how would the Hulk come into possession of the ring? What would he do once he got it? And how would he be stopped, if at all? Well, of course, the story would have to start with some sort of crossover of the Marvel and DC universes. So I think a good starting point here would be that we have a Red Lantern ring that's recovered by S.H.I.E.L.D. Obviously, no one at S.H.I.E.L.D. knows what the ring is, but like all Lantern rings, it immediately seeks out a worthy host, arriving in front of Bruce Banner, making the declaration, "You have great rage in your heart, you belong to the Red Lanterns," after which Banner immediately begins undergoing the change associated with the Red Lantern Corps. Of course, as he gets angry, his transformation into the Hulk begins as well. In a matter of moments, we have our complete transformation as the Hulk is wearing the ring, vomiting his rage blood all over the laboratory, setting things on fire, and setting off all sorts of alarms. This, of course, brings a multitude of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents down on Hulk, who he dispenses with easily. Now, of course, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and Hank McCoy all hear the commotion as well because they're in this base of operations or what have you. But after seeing the Hulk destroy the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, they think better of engaging him directly, noting that the last time he appeared to be this angry, it took an effort of the entire Marvel Universe to stop him. So they formulate a plan to bring the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men together as quickly as possible to take on this new threat. In the meantime, the Hulk is just raging throughout the city, probably New York since this is Marvel Comics after all, shrugging off an enormous assault from the US military, unfazed by gunfire, tanks, airstrikes, and anything else they can throw at him. I mean, it's just absolute pandemonium. Like even from the civilian standpoint, it's just absolute panic. Like old Miss Jenkins has been going to the same church every day for like the last 50 years, is taking her groceries home, looks up in absolute horror, and it's just like, oh Lord Jesus, just freaking out, this nice little old black woman freaking out, absolutely losing her mind. Now, of course, this brings in the heroes. Of course, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers. Pretty much every hero in the Marvel Universe comes together to try and take down the Hulk. So we get some pretty epic battle sequences here as all of these heroes unleash their full offensive capabilities on the Red Lantern Hulk. But something we have to keep in mind here is that we've seen before how powerful and unstoppable the Hulk can be when he's angry during the World War Hulk storyline, when the entire Marvel Universe basically united to stop the Worldbreaker Hulk. That version of the Hulk was powerful enough to take out all those who stood against him, including Doctor Strange channeling the energy of a demon, Iron Man in the Hulkbuster armor, the entire X-Men team, Ghost Rider, and the Sentry, both of whom he battled to a draw. And while that version of Hulk was incredibly angry due to the fact that he'd been unwittingly sent to the planet Sakaar, where he eventually became ruler, fell in love, was in the midst of starting a family when the planet was blown up, the level of anger would pale in comparison to the Red Lantern Hulk. Worldbreaker Hulk was able to feel things other than anger. He exercised restraint. He could have killed the X-Men during his battle with them, but he didn't because he didn't blame them for the tragedy that he'd suffered. Red Lantern Hulk would not be so discerning. He would be motivated by pure, unadulterated rage and would seek out to destroy everything and everyone in his path. So as the battle rages on, it becomes clear that the heroes are going to fail. Civilians are dying, soldiers are dying, even heroes are dying. On the ground, we cut to an exchange between like some commanding officer of the US military and Captain America. The officer informs Cap that the word has come down from the president that drastic measures are going to be taken and a massive bomb, possibly even nuclear, will be dropped on New York to stop the rampaging Hulk before he moves on to other cities. Cap grabs the officer's radio, implores the powers that be to reconsider, citing the fact that not only is Hulk likely to survive the blast, but innocent lives will be lost. Cap is told that the risks have been considered and the president has decided that the Hulk represents the largest threat to US national security and all available means will be taken to neutralize him. So most of those heroes that have survived turn their attention to trying to evacuate the area before the bombs dropped, while some of the most powerful heroes attempt to carry on their battle with the Hulk. Eventually, the plane carrying the bomb is seen overhead, the hatch opens and the bomb is deployed. As the heroes on the ground look up in horror, they're shocked to see that the bomb is caught in midair by an enormous green hand. Yes, suddenly there appears in the sky over New York the entirety of the Green Lantern and Blue Lantern Corps. The Blue Lanterns, powered by the emotion of hope, use their rings to negate the rage of the Hulk, while the Green Lantern Corps, minus Hal Jordan, who's transporting the bomb to the ocean or something like that, are all constructing a cell of green light constructs to entrap the Hulk. Because he's so filled with rage and so powerful, the Hulk initially resists the Blue Lantern's efforts and smashes through the cell created by the Green Lanterns, but the combined forces of the entire Blue Lantern Corps proves to be too much, and the Hulk is finally subdued. Now, following this battle, we see Bruce Banner in a SHIELD infirmary receiving treatment from the Blue Lanterns to cure him of the effects of the Red Lantern ring, while Hal Jordan talks with Captain America, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and Hank McCoy. Hal explains that in an attempt to expand the Red Lantern Corps, Atrocitus had managed to find a small hole in the barrier between the two universes, but big enough to send a Red Lantern ring through. Once the ring found its way into the Marvel Universe, it chose the person with the greatest capacity for rage, which it deemed to be the Hulk. Once the Green Lanterns learned of Atrocitus' plan, they enlisted the help of the Blue Lanterns and together found a way to enlarge the rip between the universes enough that they could all pass through, as they knew the universe would not have the knowledge or the ability to deal with a Red Lantern. And so after Banner's been healed, Hal Jordan takes the Red Lantern ring back with him to the DC universe to be destroyed. And we end with Stark and Cap checking on Bruce Banner. When they ask if he's okay, of course he assures them that he just needs to rest, and when they leave him in the hospital room to get some much needed sleep, we zoom in on his face with the last panel and we see a flicker of red light appear in his eye before it quickly returns to normal. But with that being said, guys, that is my little story of how I think Red Lantern Incredible Hulk would appear and be defeated in the Marvel Universe. I am curious if you guys enjoy something like this. If you guys think something like this is kind of cool, I hope it is. I think it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty interesting. It's a really, really cool little set of events. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.